Good morning. Welcome to Bonnie's Best Creations, and today we're going to just bake. It's a rainy morning and kind of rotten out, so let's bake. And today we're going to make some cinnamon rolls. Now this is a yeast recipe that was given years ago, and it's very versatile. It's actually a bun recipe, but we can also turn it into cinnamon rolls, raisin buns. It's a very versatile dough. So let's get going. In this bowl, I've added 6 tablespoons of vegetable oil. And to this bowl, I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of sugar. 3, 4, 5, 6. And like I've said, yeast, when you're making bread from scratch, you don't have to necessarily be exact. So just mix that sugar. Now to that, I'm going to add 3 eggs. Excuse me, 2 eggs. Just 2. And just mix that together. I'm an ordinary baker, just a regular, just have fun. I love to bake. I like making anything I can from scratch. All right, so in there we've got oil, sugar, and eggs. To that, we're going to add a tablespoon of salt. Salt helps yeast to rise, sugar and salt. So there we go. Stir that around. Now we're going to slowly start adding our yeast mixture. I have a cup of flour, and to that I'm going to add a tablespoon of yeast. This is going to make 16 buns, or bigger if you want bigger cinnamon buns. To this egg mixture, I'm going to add 3 cups of warm water. Just stir that. Remember, as long as the water is good on your wrist, just nice and warm, that's a good temperature for yeast. Now we're going to sprinkle that flour and yeast. Let's add another cup and start stirring. You can use a KitchenAid, but there's something about mixing it by hand that gives me pleasure. Okay. in total, we're probably going to add 5 to 6 cups of flour. That's a soft dough right now. I'm going to add another cup. Keep building. Dough is starting to come together really nice, if you can see that. I'm going to move this yeast away because we don't want any water getting in there. Let's move this away because this is where the fun starts. This is the part I love. Let's move this all away. And you're walking with me just as if I was baking. All right, here's my Hoosier porcelain top. And I'm going just to put some flour on there. And then what I'm going to do is this soft dough, which is gooey, I'm going to stir, just put that in there. Now, this is where we start adding flour. Because this is kneading the dough. And like I say, you can use a KitchenAid if you want. But for me, there's something about doing this that is just keep adding more flour. Just keep working at it. There's something therapeutic about this. Just keep adding flour. I have a big crock at my feet here, and I buy the flour in bulk, and in the crocks it just, okay, just keep working it. Yep, it's messy. Just keep working it. And actually, as you work this flour and the dough, you are working on binding that gluten together. There. Just now we're going to just keep What do you do on rainy days? I think a lot of people are baking these days. That's why there's no yeast to be found. And hard to get some flour. Okay, so that's coming together, if you can see that. Now, if we need this for about 5 to 10 minutes, just This is not like pastry dough. Pastry dough, you don't work it like this because it doesn't have the yeast. But with yeast and bread dough, you have to work the dough. That's coming together really nice. There. Just keep folding, pushing. If you're mad at somebody, punch it. Just get your fist in there, roll it, push it. Some people think that if you slam the dough on the counter, that's a secret, but I don't do that. Now, for me, when this dough feels like a baby's bare bum, that's when I think it is done. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I have another bowl here that has been lightly greased, and I'm going to put the dough in there, turn it upside down so that it's coated with grease on all sides. I'm going to cover this and put it in a nice warm spot for an hour, and then I'll be back. Okay, it's been an hour, and this has been rising, or another word for rising is proofing. And it, as you see, it has doubled in size. Now, instead of waiting an hour, you could do this first rise overnight, and it would be fine in a nice warm spot. But today, I've let it rise for an hour, and now what I'm going to do is just punch it down. Can you see the bubbles? I'm punching it down. I'm deflating it. These are buns, so we want them fluffy, and this recipe is just something that I have loved and I find easy to do. There's other recipes, you can go online with other recipes, but this is what I've used. A lot of people call this Bonnie's Best Buns. There's some puns that go with that. Luscious, plump, fluffy, Bonnie's Buns. You gotta laugh, right? Okay, so I've deflated that, and I'm going to put this back in and cover it up for another hour. And in the meantime, I'm going to prepare my pans, and I'm going to be buttering my pans. Let's set this aside. So here I have a nice 9 by 13 pan, and I'm going to just butter those. Butter that. Just use a pastry brush. Use a piece of wax paper. You could use butter, but I find that, well, butter or margarine, whatever, they always say everything tastes better with butter, but I don't always have butter on hand. I save butter for shortbread cookies and things like that. All right, so I'm going to put this back in the oven for an hour, and then we'll be ready to form our rolls, our cinnamon buns. Okay? All right, I'm back. So here we are. There is the rise or the proof of that dough. It's doubled in size. Mine doubled in size in 45 minutes. It depends on the temperature of your room. You got to keep it in a draft-free area. But the rise is really good with this. So what I've done to prepare for the filling, we're going to roll this out now. But here I've melted 1/3 of a cup butter or margarine. I use margarine. In this bowl, I've mixed 1 cup of packed brown sugar and 3 tablespoons of cinnamon. There's something about this is cinnamon buns. So what I'm going to do is lightly flour my surface, and we're going to punch this down again, deflating it. Dough is nice and soft and it's still warm. What I do with my bread is I put the oven on, just before I start putting this dough together. And I put it on about 325, and then I turn it off, open the oven door, and then my dough goes into that oven. Covered. That's how so that I don't have any drafts. Okay, we're going to just punch that down, and we're going to form a rectangle. You can pull it. Now, this recipe, if I wasn't going to make cinnamon buns, I make buns. We can do that another time. But today we're doing these cinnamon buns. So I'm going to roll it out. Now, I'm giving these away. So I'd like my buns, Bonnie's buns, to be big. The Cinnabuns, the ones that you smell in the mall. So I want them, so I'm gonna I could use a rolling pin, but I find just stretching that out works pretty good. So I'll just roll that out so that it's pretty. There's a nice rectangle. All right. Nothing better. While I was waiting for it to proof or rise, I watered my plants. You could do some vacuuming. I guess for an hour you could walk. So you know what? It's not a waste of time. All right. Now with this butter, I'm going just to pour it all over. There are many recipes online. You can go online, but this is one that I've used for years. If you want to make raisin buns, at the very beginning, you can add raisins, cinnamon, any spices you want before you let it rise for the first time. Get that butter in there. All right. And now, here's our mixture. We're just going to sprinkle this all over top. Be generous. Yes, you can go and buy a Pillsbury dough package. Yes. But to me, this is pure satisfaction. I'm getting my pan ready. Now, this could be the tricky part, but you know what? Just take it easy, and we're going to roll. I hope you can see me here. I'm going to roll these. Just roll it up. These are going to be delicious. Pinch that up. Okay. I think sometimes people overthink this. And you know what? You don't just squeeze that. All right, there we go. There's my log of hidden goodness. To that, instead, along with cinnamon, you could add cardamom, if that's what you like. But I like just the butter and, all right, here's my pan. Now, we're going to slice, and we're going to be generous. And just put them in the pan. Slightly apart. I'm gonna do 3. Now, sometimes the end doesn't get the cinnamon. So, you know what? You can still bake it. So we're just going to, you can see me there, I'm just gonna line these. See that? It creates that swirl, just slightly apart, because these are gonna rise again till they're double in size. Now, you can do them smaller. You know what? Just go slow. In my house, I have 3 sons. So in our house, it's go big or go home. Cookies. Gigantic cookies. But since these are for a gift, I just thought I would just nice gift to give at Christmas time. Get ready, have these for Christmas morning. 1 bun will do you for the day. Get your sugar rush. All right, now I have another pan, a smaller pan, that I'm going to fill this But there you are. Now again, I'm going to put this in a draft-free area, and I'm going to cover it, and it should be till it's double in size again. Double in size, which should be about a half an hour or 45 minutes. Okay, now here you are. These took only about a half an hour to rise. When I say rising, each time you let them rise, you want it to rise till double the size that you started with. So like I say, for me, in my house, it was toasty and warm, and so 45 minutes each time, but it could take up to an hour. So here is those cinnamon buns that have risen to double in size. Now I've preheated my oven to 350, and I'm going to put them in there for about 15 to 20 minutes. It might take a little bit longer because these are big. If they were smaller ones, 15 minutes should do it, but you want them to be golden brown. So into the oven they go. Get ready for the aroma of cinnamon and brown sugar. Oh, there's my buzzer. I'm going to put them in the oven. Okay, there are the buns out of the oven. They took a little bit longer because they are bigger. I would say 50 minutes it took to bake these because they're thicker. So I've let these sit and cool for about 15 minutes. Now what I've mixed here is some luscious cream cheese icing, and this is 8 ounces of cream cheese, half a cup of butter, a cup of powdered sugar, and a bit of salt. The salt just kind of balances that sweetness off. Now what I'm going to do now is just drizzle this all over. I wish you could smell them. My husband's going nuts. As I say, these are so good on special occasions. These are a gift for somebody. But your family would just love these. The extra rises that I do with these buns just make them just a bit fluffier. I am more of a farmhouse type baker. So my recipes are pretty basic, and the recipes that I use have been passed down from my grandma to me, to my mom, to me, friends of the past, and now I'm able to pass them on to my daughter-in-laws and to you. So there you are, cinnamon rolls. Give them a try. If you have any comments, just leave me a message below, and I pray that you have a wonderful day. God bless you.